A special presentation from Eyewitness News. These are Street Stories.
Living our street stories.
I'm Walt Buteau. Welcome to this special collection of street stories. We begin with one that brought international attention to this Pawtucket cemetery. When the family of World War II hero Elwood Ewart heard that his body had finally been recovered after nearly 80 years, they thought it was a hoax. 21 shots for a 28-year-old who saved 6 more than 7 decades ago. In the casket, greatness finally laid to rest. It was about a year after Pearl Harbor. The President Coolidge hit a pair of American mines, but the ship's captain was able to run her aground on a reef, and 5,340 men escaped. But when Pawtucket's Captain Elwood Ewart heard 6 were trapped, he went back on board, helped save them, but then was lost when the Coolidge slipped away.
Hallowed be thy name.
The flag from the coffin was given to one of Ewart's nephews. Vietnam veteran John Ewart was 5 when he attended the ceremony that etched his uncle's name on VFW Post 602.
That was the very first time that I was exposed to the story, and I've never forgotten it.
This day may have never came without a 1 in a million discovery by a scuba diver 4 years ago. About 100 feet underwater, drifting through the barnacle-encrusted hull, he discovered remains near the infirmary where the men had been trapped. A military recovery team found Ewart's dog tags and his compass and brought everything to the surface. Nephew Paul Valley was among the descendants who supplied DNA samples to verify the discovery.
They say that nobody gets left behind, and they've done that. They brought him back.
Ewart's parents had set aside a plot at St. Francis decades ago, hoping they would live long enough to see this day. Their spirit was here in the hearts of dozens of loved ones and strangers who will never forget what Captain Ewart did.
It's easy to think that that's what you or I would have done. Thank God we haven't had to face that challenge, because the vast majority of people wouldn't have turned around.
Right now, one of Ewart's relatives, who's a college professor in Michigan, is writing a book about his remarkable life. About the time the Coolidge went down, a young girl in Rhode Island was in her 20s, never realizing she'd lived long enough to watch her favorite team break the curse. Just try to keep up with Mary Letowski. She's not fast, but she's steady. And by the way, her husband made her learn how to drive when she was 30.
And now many a times I look up at heaven at him and I say, thank you, Bill, for letting me drive. He forced me to.
Did we mention she just turned 101 on Valentine's Day? As she baked up a pound cake, she told us how back in the day before the $6 Valentine's Day card, February 14th wasn't a big deal.
And not when I was little, but when I grew up, everybody remembered it, my birthday. So that's why I get so many cards.
Over her century plus of life, there were more good times than bad. One she'll never forget, though, is the flu epidemic that reports say claimed 50 Rhode Islanders a day at its peak.
2 of my neighbors died of that influenza. So many parents died, and the children were left either without a mother or a father.
Along the way, she had 2 children, 3 grandchildren, and now 7 great-grandchildren. They watched her watch her favorite team, oftentimes in frustration.
I used to get so disappointed, and my husband would say, don't feel that bad, it's only a game. I always said that I would never live to see the Red Sox win the World Series.
Red Sox fans have longed to hear it.
And I saw them win 3 of them.
Now she enters her 102nd year. She's looking for a 4th title.
I hope so. I hope so. Too bad Poppy's gone.
But if you ask if the slugger of her youth, Ted Williams, was better than Big Poppy,
Oh, I think so.
By the way, in 71 years of driving, she's had one accident, but she insists it wasn't her fault. One big change in her life, in all of our lives, social media. And without it, two Rhode Islanders would have never met in what one of them calls a 1 in a million miracle.
Oh, my mother's home.
Harry and Carol went from never met to forever connected.
It was amazing. It blew my mind, honestly. It really did.
Harry has no idea why the box marked with Norma McMillan's name was mired in the clutter of the basement of his Westerly apartment. Carol knows only that a tragic mistake during a move misplaced the box in a storage unit that sold to the highest bidder.
I just thought she was lost forever.
I felt like it just wasn't right that it was down there.
Maybe they own.
That night in Richmond, Carol had a vision involving her mother that she still can't explain.
It wasn't actually a dream. She was just standing there, clear as day, clear as day.
Harry had just dusted off the box, made a video, and put it out there on Facebook.
And I asked people to please share so that we could find the family of Norma.
Instantly, I messaged Harry. I was like, I don't believe this. Unbelievable.
And it was Carol, and she was ecstatic.
That's a miracle. The whole story is a miracle.
A miracle perhaps for her, and a step towards salvation for Harry, who about the time she lost the box, was battling a potential life or death choice of his own.
Come October this year, I'll be 4 years clean from opiates and heroin.
She's home.
She was shaking when I handed her the box, and she gave me a really good minute-long hug, and it just made me feel right.
Having her back and sitting there in my living room now, she's home. My mother's home.
I have a lot of making up to do, so every day I try to.
And he seems to think he has to make up for things he's done in the past. Well, past is past. This is now, and that's all that matters.
She also told us whether Harry likes it or not, he is now part of her family for bringing her mom home.
Next on this presentation of Street Stories.
Sit. Good sit. Good boy. Good boy, Truman.
You have to see The Truman Show. This is not just a silly pet trick. We'll also go on board with a sailing dream team.
I have the spinnaker and it's like, easy, easy. Coming down. Trim, trim, trim. You're just like, boom.
They are racing the clock and leaving doubters in their wake.
Welcome back to a special presentation of Eyewitness News. These are Street Stories.
Last year, we introduced you to Truman, who had 3 strikes against him. He was a breed of dog with a bad rap, could barely walk, and every time he ate, he got sick. Truman has come a long way.
What a good boy.
In less than a year.
Hey, want to eat?
While this looks like a circus trick,
Want to eat? Yeah, I got him. Come on. Come on. There you go. Back it up. There you go. Good boy. Sit.
it's the only way the Staffordshire Terrier Labrador mix can eat.
Sit. Good sit. Good boy. Good boy, Truman.
Without getting sick.
Come on, dude. Let's go.
Before he was rescued, Truman picked up a rare bacteria, probably from drinking out of a dirty puddle. Megasophagus causes food to get stuck in a dog's throat.
Good boy, Truman.
Unless they eat standing up.
You're such a good boy.
Before Truman was taught to do this, he was down to 40 pounds.
You could see every rib on his body, all his spine. He was very, very, very lethargic and very, very thin.
Couldn't walk.
Could not walk at all for several weeks when we first rescued him.
Ken Diorio agreed to be Truman's foster parent for 2 weeks, which has turned into 10 months. Had you heard of Mega when they told you?
I had no idea. We had to eat everything upright, and we didn't have the high chair back then. So we had to hold him upright in our arms for 20 minutes every time after we fed him.
Handsome Dan's rescue takes in dogs and cats with behavior problems and works with them to make them more adoptable.
Good job, bud.
They also rescue pets with expensive health care issues like Truman that some shelters can't afford. Many are American Staffordshire Terrier, also known as Pit Bull, mixes, like the organization's namesake, Dan, who was rescued during the Michael Vick dogfighting case. The organization helped push for the 2013 ban of breed-specific ordinances that often target pit bulls.
Each dog should be basically judged on their personal behavior, on their history. We think that's just much more effective in keeping communities safe rather than targeting a specific breed.
In its 7-year history, Handsome Dan's has found homes for hundreds of formerly unadoptable dogs, but they're still looking for a home for Truman.
Next on this presentation of Street Stories.
Do not play this guy in horse.
Told you.
He's a trick shot superstar who hopes his swish will help a worthy cause. And it was history that brought this group to Broad Street.
You had to lift your feet up about a foot to get through all that had accumulated here.
We'll show you what they uncovered, and we'll tell you why they did it.
Welcome back to a special presentation of Eyewitness News. These are Street Stories.
Welcome back to the Street Story Special. When you see the Good Karma racing team out on the water, they look like any other sailors, only faster, and they love that. Out here, Cindy and Sarah.
Okay, ready to drive? And over.
Are bound to nothing.
Nice drive, Cindy.
I have the spinnaker and it's like easy, easy.
Coming down.
Trim, trim, trim. You're just like, boom. You're going. You can feel like the pull of the boat, stairs in the back.
We feel very free out here.
She's like, woohoo! We just wear it on our sleeves.
Cindy Walker makes the sailboat go. Top speed so far 15 knots, or about 20 miles per hour.
Coming up a scotch.
Sarah Everhart Skeels guides the sails.
Breeze coming.
And together they form one of the best U.S. racing duos in the country.
Breeze on.
A mix of brain, strength,
190.
And strategy. On the water off Newport, they move as one with their craft.
It gets addictive. We just go out sometimes just to go fast. Just sometimes, you know, in life you just gotta like let it all go and go fast and just not think much about anything. You can take it out on the water and it's powerful.
Like especially when the wind picks up, like we're like jiving and things are like making noise.
There's no doubt they want a shot at the Paralympics, but they tell us the freedom they feel by just racing is a victory.
We leave our mobility impairment on the dock because we're out on the water like everyone else and we're using Mother Nature to make the boat go.
Because people are looking at you because they're like, that boat's going fast and winning gold medals.
Sarah and Cindy were the top American two-person keelboat team in last year's Para World Sailing Championships, finishing in the top 10. About the time they were competing, we brought you to a spot on Broad Street that was buried but not forgotten by time. Questions from Target 12 almost 2 years ago prompted the city of Cranston to finally give ancestors access to the graves of their loved ones in this dilapidated mausoleum. And that brought attention to the plots next door. The man behind the mower is Paul Chobanian, a member of the Armenian St. Bartnance Men's Club.
These people have long been forgotten. It's been neglected for too long.
When they went to work to change that about 8 weeks ago,
You had to lift your feet up about a foot to get through all that had accumulated here. And in fact, this stone you could have stepped on because it was buried in the ground.
I don't think we can do this. This is what I said. I said that.
They hauled away about 500 bags of debris, and that didn't include an even bigger pile.
And it was a good 6 to 8 feet high, and it went from that tree back there, that one straight ahead, down to right about this area here.
Underneath all of that rested history.
Yeah, we came across this stone here of Mahovanes, which is John in English, Krikorian.
This forgotten 4-year-old was honored with a ceremony after his stone was lifted out of the mud.
This poor little boy probably hasn't seen anyone come and pray in front of it in so long.
They also found the graves of survivors of the century-old Armenian Holocaust and the Death March into the Syrian desert.
1.5 million were massacred or slaughtered or died on that route.
And some survived, made it here, and are buried in this cemetery.
Yep, without a question. We hope that the next generations would do this for us if this happened to us.
After our story aired, each one of the graves in that section of the cemetery was blessed, and a commitment made to make sure the sun always shines on the history there.
Next on this presentation of Street Stories.
Up next, you'll meet a one-of-a-kind sharpshooter. Is that luck or is that feel?
I think it's a combination of both.
We'll tell you why this teacher is tossing up rainbows that find the bottom of the net from all angles.
Told you.
And a reporter has a shot at redemption. But did it go in this time? You'll find out next.
Welcome back to a special presentation of Eyewitness News. These are Street Stories.
Welcome back. This next story has been attracting tweets and retweets from everywhere as the world gets to see what some Pawtucket kids have watched in amazement for years. Shea PE teacher Peter Malo not only makes it look easy, the former All-State and college basketball player makes it sound easy.
Told you. How many times do you have to take a shot before it goes in?
It all depends. It's kind of based upon feel. Some days they go right in.
Do not play this man in a game of horse. How many times did you practice the one where you threw it over the fence?
I had about 10 minutes to work with, so I got shots up for about 10 minutes.
You practiced that for only 10 minutes and got it in?
Yep.
Is that luck or is that feel?
I think it's a combination of both.
It looks like luck.
Yep. It went in though.
He's been putting up trick shots in Shea's gym for years. First for fun, then by request.
See where the cheerleader, the pom-pom is on the right-hand side of the torch? All right, so when you step with your left foot, stay in a perfect straight line, like walk up into it. There you go.
Let me try just a regular half court. Can't even hit the backboard. Now he wants to turn the fun into a fundraiser. He hopes to get some national exposure to attract some cash to spruce up the Raiders gym and other athletic facilities.
They need a level playing field. We have some great athletes. You know, our basketball team went undefeated with 18-0. We always have a competitive soccer team. Football team won the Super Bowl.
Malo is still shooting and still trying to attract enough attention to raise money to improve Shea's facilities. But let's get one thing straight. I can make a half-court shot. With some editing. Thanks for watching our Street Story special. Remember, if you have any ideas, send them our way.
One day we will rise above it all. On our way to meet our destiny. We're living our street stories. We're living our street stories.